Well, the UK is lifting coronavirus quarantine restrictions for dozens of countries, including Italy, France and Greece. Travellers arriving from 60 countries and British overseas territories will no longer have to spend 2 weeks in isolation. That could mean a boost for tourism going both ways, with British holidaymakers now free to visit the beaches of the Mediterranean and the visitors welcome back in London and elsewhere. Well, for more, we can go now to London. Our correspondent Bénédicte Paviot is there. And Bénédicte, after being cooped up for months, can we expect the Brits to be lining up for a much-needed summer break?
Simple answer, yes. But let me develop that. So you can jet off if you're here in the UK, and you can jet in if you are, well, in many countries, 75 countries and British overseas territories. So that is indeed good news. No more cooping up, at least for those who are from those 75 countries and British overseas territories. A word of warning, though, the UK is made up of 4 nations, and one of them, Scotland, is still requiring people travelling from Spain to quarantine. So unlike England, Wales and Northern Ireland, basically, if you want to double check, go on the Foreign Office website, the Foreign Office website that has changed its advice today on Serbia. It says that people are no longer allowing travellers to return without quarantining. Now, of course, there are people who are already under quarantine, whether they're Brits or from other countries, flown in from other countries, and they, if they are already quarantining here, must absolutely finish that period of quarantine. That is absolutely essential, or they could incur a £1,000 fine, which of course is considerable, possibly even if they don't respect that, jail time. So Scotland from Friday has also made face coverings mandatory in shops. There is somewhat of a sort of fine line. That is not true everywhere, but I think if you want to be safe, and particularly on public transport, definitely wear a face covering. And it means that people arriving in Scotland from Spain will still face quarantine rules. So good news. This is important for people's mental health, their family plans, their travel plans, and definitely a good direction of travel, so to speak.
And Bénédicte, what about the tourists coming the other way? Could this be a lifeline for the UK economy?
Absolutely, and a much needed lifeline. The aviation industry has taken a huge hit, as you say. I mean, we were cooped up, and certainly this island was very isolated, and of course a huge toll, unfortunately, one of the worst world rankings as far as deaths from coronavirus, officially over 44,000 in hospitals and care homes, plus you can add probably another 20 to 25,000 because of excess deaths when you compare them to previous years. So it is much needed and awaited news by the aviation industry, the hospitality industry and the tourism industry, that with the reopening in the coming days of gyms, outdoor gyms, certainly, indoor gyms, swimming pools, outdoor pools, certainly, leisure parks, is really what is needed. But what is unknown is the confidence that people will have either to jet into Britain or to jet out of Britain. And of course, some plans have already been made. So it is not known how many people here in the UK will be having a staycation. In other words, visiting somewhere else in the United Kingdom. Big question mark. We'll have to wait to see what people do.
All right. Happy holidays to you, Bénédicte. Thank you very much indeed. Bénédicte Paviot there in London. Well,